Welcome to The Critique. We're looking at a submission called Gentle Daily Movement as a foundation for long-term healthy aging naturally.
Right.
It's a solid premise. Low-impact activities like walking, Tai Chi for older adults.
A really good topic.
But we're not here to talk about the topic. We're here because the execution, the piece is having a massive identity crisis.
Oh, absolutely. I read the first 5 paragraphs and I thought, okay, this is a brochure for a high-end physiotherapy clinic.
And the conclusion?
The conclusion felt like a text message from a teenager.
That tonal disconnect is exactly where we have to start. It's the single biggest problem in the whole draft.
For sure.
The author spends the entire piece building up this really impressive clinical authority.
Yeah, with words like myocardial endurance and vascular elasticity.
Exactly. And then in that final paragraph, they just light all that credibility on fire.
It's the joints throw a party line that got me.
With the party popper emoji.
Right, and the muscles stop complaining with a laughing emoji, and then comparing the reader to a happy video game character.
It's a total collapse of the persona. You can't spend 800 words lecturing someone on synovial fluid mechanics.
And then high-five them with a cartoon controller at the end. It doesn't work.
It feels like a betrayal of the reader's intelligence,
It does.
If I'm a senior reading this or a caregiver looking for serious advice, the body of the text tells me, okay, this person is an expert. I can trust them.
But the conclusion says, actually, I'm just trying to be cute and go viral.
It borders on condescending, which is the real danger here.
Yeah, when you use that kind of hyper-juvenile language for an older audience, comparing them to video game characters, it can feel infantilizing.
It suggests you don't think they can handle the dignity of the conversation you just had.
Right.
So let's fix it. The author has to pick a lane.
And given the strength of the medical research, I think we both agree which lane that is.
The clinical guide persona is the one to keep. The lifestyle cheerleader has to go.
Agreed. The research is the real asset here. So let's workshop that conclusion. The current line is, when you move, your joints throw a party.
Okay, so if I'm editing that, I'm looking for a callback to the mechanical benefit we learned about earlier. I'd probably change it to something like, daily movement ensures the longevity of joint function.
That's better. Definitely more dignified. But is it maybe a little too dry?
That's a fair point.
The author was clearly trying to convey a sense of, celebration or relief. Longevity of joint function is a bit sterile.
Okay, I see that. We want to keep the emotional payoff, but lose the emojis.
Exactly.
What if we focused on the result of that function? Maybe something like, consistent movement isn't just exercise. It is the daily maintenance that preserves your independence.
Oh, that's strong. Preserves your independence.
Right?
That hits the emotional core of the target reader without treating them like a child. It connects joint function directly to their ability to live their life.
Okay, now what about the happy video game character disaster?
Yeah.
The author is trying to talk about the mood-boosting effects of exercise.
But they're using a metaphor that is just going to alienate a 75-year-old.
So they should just go back to the science they already established in paragraph 5. They mentioned endorphins and neurochemistry.
Right, so instead of leveling up, you ground it back in physiology.
Something like, beyond the physical, this routine stabilizes your neurochemistry, replacing anxiety with a sustained sense of vitality.
Sustained sense of vitality. I love that.
It promises the same thing, the same happiness as the video game reference.
But it frames it as a medical outcome. It respects the reader.
Now, just for the sake of argument, let's look at the flip side. What if the author is just married to the emojis?
Oh, that's a much harder job.
Much harder.
You'd have to rewrite the entire piece from scratch. You'd have to go in and strip out proprioception and insulin sensitivity.
And replace them with balance and blood sugar.
Yeah, you can't just drop a 5-syllable medical term into the middle of a BuzzFeed listicle. The whiplash works both ways.
Exactly. Consistency is the currency of trust. Let's move on.
Okay.
The second major issue, even if we fix the tone, the medical terminology in the body, while it's accurate, is sort of floating in a vacuum. I'm calling this the so what problem.
I see this all the time in health writing. The author lists the mechanism, but they forget the experience.
Yes, they tell us what happens inside the body, but not how it feels to live in that body.
Exactly.
Take vascular elasticity. The text says walking improves vascular elasticity and optimizes peripheral circulation. That's factually correct.
But if I'm an older reader, I don't wake up in the morning worrying about my vascular elasticity.
No, you wake up realizing your feet are freezing cold, even though you're wearing socks.
Or your fingers are numb when you're trying to hold your coffee cup.
That's it, precisely. So we need to translate the science into the symptom. We have to bridge that gap.
Okay, so how would you rewrite that sentence on circulation?
I'd link the term directly to the sensation. Maybe something like walking optimizes peripheral circulation, which effectively pushes blood to your extremities.
You're still a little abstract there. Extremities is still pretty clinical. Get more visceral.
Okay, good point. How about walking pumps warm blood into your hands and feet, combating that chronic numbness or coldness that often comes with inactivity?
There it is. Combating chronic coldness.
Right?
Now you've actually solved a problem that I have. You've used the medical fact to validate a daily struggle.
Let's apply that same logic to synovial fluid. The text says gentle stretching stimulates the production of synovial fluid to lubricate joint surfaces.
Again, accurate, but it sounds like a car manual.
It does, and the metaphor is just sitting right there, waiting. Lubrication implies moving parts.
Yeah, the Tin Man, right?
Exactly. The sensation of aging isn't dry surfaces, it's creakiness. It feels like rust.
So the rewrite needs to lean into that imagery.
It does.
Think of synovial fluid as the oil for your body's hinges. Gentle stretching releases this fluid, eliminating that rusty, stiff feeling you have when you first step out of bed.
That's the winner. It takes the science, synovial fluid, and anchors it to a specific moment in the reader's day. Getting out of bed.
Okay, there's one more term we have to tackle. Proprioception. It's in the Tai Chi section.
I actually love that the author included this. Proprioception, the body's ability to sense its position in space, it's so huge for fall prevention.
It is, but it's a dense word.
A very dense word. And right now, the text just says Tai Chi improves proprioception and functional strength.
Which means nothing to a layperson.
Nothing. The author needs to illustrate what a lack of proprioception feels like.
It feels like uncertainty, like being wobbly.
And what does good proprioception look like in daily life? It's not just, balancing on one foot.
No, it's getting out of a chair.
That's the key image, the armchair test.
Exactly. The rewrite should be something like, Tai Chi sharpens your proprioception, your body's internal sense of where it is. This is the difference between needing to rock back and forth 3 times to get out of your armchair.
And simply standing up with confidence.
Yes, that is so much more powerful. It transforms functional strength into dignity.
No one wants to be the person who can't get out of the chair.
And that actually brings us to our third critique point, which is about the psychological framing.
Right.
The current draft presents this idealized, almost sunny version of aging, where exercise is easy and completely pain-free.
It's the Instagram version of geriatrics. The text says these activities minimize strain and do not require extreme physical effort.
And then that line in the conclusion, your muscles stop complaining?
That line specifically drives me crazy.
Because it's a lie.
It is. If you're 70 years old and you haven't exercised in a decade and you go for a 20-minute walk,
Your muscles are absolutely going to complain. You are going to have delayed onset muscle soreness.
and if you tell the reader this won't hurt, and then it does, what do they think?
They think they did it wrong, or that their body is broken.
And they quit. So we need some radical honesty here. We have to frame the discomfort not as a failure, but as a necessary step.
It's the difference between pain and sensation.
Yes.
We should rewrite that section to say something like, you may feel some soreness at first. This is not injury. This is your muscles waking up.
That temporary protest is the price of long-term relief.
That builds trust. It treats the reader like an adult who understands a trade-off.
We see this same idealism in the walking section too. The prescription is 20 to 30 minutes daily.
Which, for someone who's already fit, is nothing. But if you're the person this article is for,
The person with the rusty hinges.
30 minutes is a marathon. It feels daunting.
It's a barrier to entry. And the text mentions gradual progression, but it's buried later on.
It needs to be right at the front. That permission to start small.
How about we reframe the goal entirely? Instead of walk for 30 minutes, we say,
The goal is consistency, not distance.
Exactly. Start with what your body allows today, even if that is just a 5-minute walk to the mailbox and back.
That's perfect. To the mailbox and back. That's achievable.
And once they get to the mailbox, they might just keep going.
But if you tell them the goal is 30 minutes, they won't even put their shoes on.
And we also have to address the fear of falling in that Tai Chi section.
Right. The text mentions it reduces fall risk, but it frames it so clinically.
This is a huge psychological barrier. So many seniors stop moving because they're afraid of falling.
They become sedentary out of a sense of self-preservation, which ironically makes them more likely to fall.
So we need to position Tai Chi not just as balance training.
But as courage training.
I like that.
The rewrite should be, many of us limit our movement because we no longer trust our balance. Tai Chi is designed to systematically rebuild that trust, replacing the fear of falling with the stability to move freely.
Replacing fear with stability. That is the emotional hook.
It acknowledges the fear but doesn't dwell on it. It offers a positive path forward.
Which leads us perfectly into the final structural issue here, the hook. Or, well, the lack of one.
The current introduction is a real snooze fest.
Healthy aging is not defined solely by genetics. We must look to holistic measures. It's throat clearing.
It's filler. It reads like a student trying to hit a word count before they get to the actual point.
And the craziest part is that the real hook, the most compelling image in the whole piece, is buried down in paragraph 4.
The stiff joint capsule.
Yes, paragraph 4 explains that without movement, the joint capsule literally shrinks and stiffens, and that's what creates that morning immobility.
That is the universal experience of the target audience.
Everyone over 50 knows that feeling. You wake up and you feel like you're made of wood.
So the structural edit here is a big one, but it's necessary.
We have to cut that whole genetics opening.
And move the shrinking capsule concept from paragraph 4 right up to sentence 1.
Walk me through what that new opening sounds like.
Okay, rough draft. We all know the feeling of waking up stiff, feeling like our joints have rusted overnight.
This isn't just getting old, it's a biological process where your joint capsules literally shrink for lack of use.
The good news, you can reverse it.
That grabs me instantly. You've validated my pain, rusted joints, you've explained the cause, shrinking capsules, and you've promised a solution, all in 3 sentences.
Right, and it sets up the rest of the piece perfectly. Now the reader is thinking, okay, how do I reverse it?
And boom, you hit them with the walking section and the Tai Chi section.
It creates a narrative arc. Problem, stiffness, solution, movement, outcome, independence.
Yeah, the current draft is just philosophy, then a list of exercises, then emojis.
And by moving that rust imagery to the top, we also fix the transition issues. Right now, the jump from the intro to the walking section feels really clunky.
It does, but with the new intro, you can segue perfectly.
You can say, the best way to lubricate those shrinking capsules, it starts with a simple walk.
It just flows logically. It stops being a list and it starts being a manual for fixing a specific problem.
You know, when you step back, this piece has really good bones.
It does. The author clearly did the research. They understand the physiology.
They just got trapped in the expert's curse.
They assumed the reader cares about the science as much as they do.
Exactly. They led with the facts, the genetics, the vascular elasticity, instead of with the feelings.
The stiffness, the cold feet.
And then, I think they realized it was too dry, so they panicked and overcorrected with the emojis at the end.
It's a classic overcompensation. I've been boring you with science for 5 minutes, so here's a party popper.
But if they do the work we've talked about, translate the science into sensation, acknowledge the struggle, respect the reader's dignity.
They won't need the emojis to make it engaging.
The relief of pain is engaging enough.
That's the takeaway. The engagement comes from the relevance, not the decoration.
So for the listener, here's your checklist for the rewrite. First, kill the genetics intro. Start with the morning rust.
Second, go through every single medical term, vascular elasticity, synovial fluid, proprioception, and pair it with a physical sensation.
Cold hands, creaky hinges, getting out of a chair.
Third, get honest about the barriers. Acknowledge the soreness. Acknowledge the fear. Give permission to just walk to the mailbox and back.
And finally, rewrite that conclusion. Maintain the authority you built. Remind them that this is about preserving their independence,
Not leveling up a video game skill.
And delete the party popper.
Permanent. If you make those changes, this goes from being a generic health article to a piece of writing that could actually change how someone ages.
And that's the goal.
We'd love to see the revision. Apply these lenses: tone, translation, honesty, and structure, and send it back to us.
We'll be waiting.
That does it for this critique. Now go get some movement in.
Just watch out for those stiff capsules.
See you next time.